What is going on, you guys? My name is Rage and we are back today with a very exciting high score ranking here video for you guys. As you can see, I'm actually in the top 1000 in the game right now, being 100% free to play, and I want to show you guys how I did this. A lot of the strategy in terms of how the nodes I've done has already been documented in my last 3 videos made on difficulty 6, 7, and 8. Recently I think I made a video 2.1 million, but you guys, it's all in the little details in the final node being node 10. I have some really good gameplay footage here that I want to show you guys, utilizing 5 characters I think can ultimately push you to higher rankings if you guys are also after pushing that high score into uncharted territory, ultimately unlocking more shards of Red Hulk, and as well as maximizing on a red star potential for him. But I got that gameplay. Nodes 5 didn't really shift too much from my previous gameplay, so all the strategy's been consistent, but hopefully this video is able to help you guys push higher. I want to showcase for you all the Scourges as well as the 5 characters that made a huge difference for me, and then finally wrap things up by showing you guys the final node 10 gameplay on how I was able to capitalize on this opportunity. Now, that said, before I start slowly scrolling up here so you can see all my Scourges, I do want to point out there was a couple, I think they confirmed and announced that they were broken, so you can actually activate them to go through and push through higher with these Scourges not having an actual impact. So without further ado, let me just slowly scroll up here. And again, I still felt like the experience, even with some of these activated, it was still a very smooth experience, guys. The only one I actually had to reset quite a few times was the final node, and again, it's because of that synergy with Bionic Avengers. But even if you're able to activate, very similar Scourges to what I have right now and push through, I think this is a great Scourge to just be able to capitalize, because it does feel more smooth having invested in both Web Warriors and Young Avengers. And I did not actually put any investment into Gamma, so I didn't even use them at all for these difficulty 8. Goes to show you that, to even get to higher levels, you don't necessarily need to invest in a new team. So one of the Scourges I do want to point out, guys, Pyrrhic Victory 2, this one is actually broken. So I didn't know about this until I did the run, but you can see here, if I had this one activated, it would have easily put me over 2.8 million. I don't want to redo it because honestly, I spent some time already going through it, and I just don't think it's worth it at the end of the day. Top 1,000, I likely will be top 5,000 by the end of the time this event's done, but I'm happy with that, guys. This is a really good run and great practice in terms of setting up us for the final Scourge upcoming in a couple months here, being the Death Scourge. So it'll be interesting as more details come up. But yeah, hopefully you guys got a chance to see all the Scourges that I just showed there in order for me to hit this expected run score. Now, I do want to quickly dive in and show you guys each of the 5 characters I used, because they were pretty much the reason that I got to nodes 10 and specifically ultimately beating it with the full gameplay footage. And it is actually a surprising team that I did not expect when I was going through it, so that's why I do want to talk about it and show you guys here. So actually, Hulk was not one of them. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started, guys. The most important character in this roster is for sure Thor. That's why I actually did not hesitate to bring him to Gear Tier 16, because I felt like this was finally going to be a really good chance for me to push even higher, and as well 7 red on him, so it made total sense just to boost everything up. He's going to be bringing all the damage. He's got a notable stun, and you'll see in my gameplay that he is just the true MVP of getting through nodes 10, even against the Bionic Avengers synergy. Next up, Starlight T'Challa. Having synergy with Yondu was really huge for me. Being able to blind, being able to getting positive buffs. So I already had him built up from Dark Dimension 5, but I mean, it's nice that I can use him again and again. That synergy really helped essentially in the last node, especially when we can utilize a blind to actually be able to anticipate attacks, mitigate damage, and he's just a great character overall. It's unfortunate he's a little squishier. Would have liked to build him higher, but at the end of the day, he was already 85 in Gear Tier 16, so it's a great place to be. Providing buff supports as well as crowd controlling his Valkyrie, and she was absolutely huge with the synergy of the rest of the heroes as Guardians. And you'll see that she has some timely abilities, being able to manage waves, and as well she also provides buffs, especially if she falls or Lady Thor, right? So that's huge for us, especially for Thor being the juggernaut of our team. And then, as mentioned earlier, Yondu, that has amazing value. You'll see in the gameplay that unfortunately I couldn't bring him up to full HP at the beginning. He took quite a few hits as I was getting him up to the nodes 10, but that's okay. What's most important is making sure that you have his special ready to go, making sure that by the time you hit nodes 10, he's ready to summon the Ravager, Boomer, and Stitcher, because they honestly do make a huge difference, as you see with their sustainability. And another thing too, guys, something I didn't realize until I was actually reviewing my Scourges and looking at the abilities activate, but this was actually huge for me. I had a Fortifier on Yondu before when I was going through the Gambit raids, And by having the fortifier, it gives him a lot of protection and just being able to soak up damage. But I didn't realize there was actually a Scourge that gets a lot of value from the fortifier. So let me actually backtrack here and show you guys real quick. This Scourge actually made a huge difference because by having that fortifier, it actually provided some insane value for me. When a fortifier character uses an ultimate ability, spread positive buffs on that character to adjacent allied characters. So I was wondering when I was going through, why when I activated the ultimate from Yondu, I was just getting all these buffs, and then I had to go back and actually look at that Scourge. So that's a huge thing. I didn't actually realize this until I was playing it. So hopefully you guys can take advantage, because you'll see in my gameplay, by him sharing all his positive buffs, it's huge for the allies that are next to him, and it was just a great opportunity to take advantage of, especially when we're up against a very powerful Bionic Avengers synergy. And then last but not least, guys, pretty obvious here, Lady Thor, Jane, she is huge in terms of the synergy with Thor, maximizing on that damage potential. Her actually having a blind as well is huge for us, gaining charges and just synergizing the rest of the hero Asgards. Those three are definitely locks. But yeah, I definitely didn't see these 5 characters being the main team for me to actually push me to these heights. So goes to show you, the theory crafting aspect was definitely up in the air for this, so I really appreciated that. That said, guys, those are the main 5 that made a huge difference for me. I didn't change any of my strategies from nodes 1 to nodes 9, so if you guys are curious, I'll make sure to link up my difficulty 8 video where I go through each of the nodes in terms of the teams I used. But otherwise, let's dive right in now into the final gameplay here for node 10. Very notably showing you the overall attack strategy and how I was able to actually get it to the finish line. Thank you guys. Do let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Now guys, before the gameplay even begins, I just want you to pay attention to what you see on screen right now with those 2 attacks and how strong those allies are. Bringing them in just to have the simple attack to soak up the damage in the initial beginning, just a couple guys, you don't even need them built up. That's why I was saying there is actually not going to be any kind of B team to this attack. It's going to be my full 5 characters, and we're going to bring these Bionic Avengers from start to finish, all the way to the very end. And using this strategy, hopefully you guys can get the right RNG like I did as well. With those two initial attacks that kind of soak up some damage, the reason we bring in Star-Lord T'Challa is he's actually going to be taking away the energy at the very beginning from Iron Man, just because at this point he actually hasn't used his ultimate yet, so we're going to see that that's going to miss. But from the very beginning, guys, this is what's huge. Yondu was already weak already, but I activate his special right there in order to summon the allies there. And pardon me, guys, it did take me quite a few tries to get this set up right, but you'll see if it's done correctly with charges from nodes 5, Thor is going to be able to activate his passive right there. We actually use the ult there to stun, and now we're in a great position, right? We want to save our abilities, but at the same time still, you know, keep up our attacks on both Viv Vision and Hulkbuster, because those 2 are going to be the priority in this wave. I know there's damage dealers in War Machine and Iron Man, but to be quite frank, it's really those key pieces of the Bionic Avengers like Viv and as well as Hulkbuster that make a huge difference, you guys. So I want you to pause there too. Did you see how I activated Yondu's ultimate and it casted all those buffs right next to Lady Thor? That's huge, guys. Now we're just cleaning up the rest of this enemy wave, but what's going to be problematic is this next wave that comes up, and this is where likely you guys might have to reset. That's why we did save the majority of our abilities for both Valkyrie and Muddy Thor for this initial wave, because the pain point is actually surprisingly Jubilee and Deathlock in this next wave. So that's why activating Valkyrie's ultimate there, having the ability block on the Deathlock, but just look at all the damage she's doing. Again, we saved up all these abilities from the first wave and node 5 to ensure that in nodes 10, this is a great place for us to be. Now, even with Valkyrie going down, we get the positive buffs, and just look how devastating this team can be. You know, and that's what I mean. This is actually pretty crazy how tight it's going to be. And again, this is only if you have these 5 characters and you don't have any other characters that you can utilize as part of a B team. But it took me quite a few tries to get to this point. It looks pretty bad still, but I promise you guys, again, the synergy of the heroes as Guardians mixed with the Ravagers is really what's devastating. Just look at all the damage Thor's doing. You know, going up against all these Bionic Avengers, even against Bishop. So Bishop, another stun now thanks to Thor's ultimate, and it's looking really good. Finally, one of the Hulkbusters is down too, and we can focus on Deathlock finally because of the fact that he can do so much damage to us. You can see, just look how devastating that is. What really worked for us though, and what I was kind of timing, was also Valkyrie's death, her you know, her falling actually giving us the buff that we needed to get the additional energy, and that was huge here, guys. So rewatch this gameplay by all means, but it did took me quite a few resets and tries. And again, guys, keep in mind, this is assuming you don't have any other team and you're using 5 characters to do the job from start to finish, because like I said, I showed you earlier that I just did the 2 attacks, basically nobody, right? But what's scary here that I caught on gameplay here is just look at Hulkbuster. Look at what he's doing to the rest of our team. We're actually going to see him finish off Lady Thor, and it's going to be T'Challa and Thor against Hulkbuster, and it actually ends up being a pretty funny situation. I was actually getting pretty worried because, you know, once this team goes down, I don't really have anybody else that can take down Hulkbuster. But you can see here, what's going to happen is Hulkbuster is actually going to take down Thor, and it becomes a one-on-one battle between Star-Lord, T'Challa, and Hulkbuster. Fortunately, Hulkbuster does not have any healing, but he's got barrier, so we just go on for a little bit here in terms of damage. But T'Challa eventually does get the job done here. It definitely could have been better if we had someone else, but thankfully, you know, Hulkbuster can't take down T'Challa with all the dodges he has. So just took me a few tries to kind of do some combo attacks, but you'll see here, once we started actually getting through and seeing the death-proof attacks work, that's when I was like, oh wow, I'm getting close, and then boom, right there. So there you guys have it, a dramatic finish, one-on-one final battle against T'Challa and Hulkbuster. We finally got the job done here, ultimately pushing me to a new rank here, for a high score actually in general. Usually the last couple Scourges, I think my best score was 1.8, 1.9 million, but there you guys have it. I hope this video helps. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Hopefully this helps push you higher. Thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.